we've got a San Francisco market that's been in operation for 35 years. They're calling it quits. And their number one reason they're calling it quits, crime and the lack of response by the city to said crime. Shoplifting. Let's get into it. Here we go. You can only take so much. South Beach Market to close after 35 years, citing crime and costs. If you're already battling the ability to make a profit, how are things going to go when you keep getting ripped off? And you've got a safety issue. I mean, if you're getting ripped off, you know you've got people who don't respect the law. What else are they going to do? What else are they going to do? After 35 years in business, a family-owned market in South Beach is closing its doors. Co-owner David Pusic, if I'm pronouncing that, Pusic, maybe, said high operation costs and mounting neighborhood crime were the driving factors. Let's take a quick peek at where this is exactly. All right, so this is Bayside Village, South Beach, kind of north and east of South Park a little bit. If you want to, you know what's interesting is when I was doing research for this, I was looking at the map. You no longer on Google Maps, you no longer have the Tenderloin indicated. You just don't have, there's no Tenderloin indicated on the map. You got Union Square, and if you zoom in and zoom out, yeah, no Tenderloin. So if we take the Tenderloin district off the map, the word Tenderloin, does it disappear? Does all the open air drug usage, the homeless, the human trafficking, does all that, the human excrement on the sidewalk, does that all just disappear if you take it off Google Maps? I think this is a real disservice by Google not having that on this map, because now you got people that are, renting hotel rooms and whatnot. And they're like, it should be fine. It looks like a pretty good area. In reality, it's the worst area in San Francisco, period. Right? Yeah. So Google, what are you doing? Throw that Tenderloin back up there. People need to know. Want to talk about transparency? Yeah. Anyway. Back to our regularly scheduled program, right? Bayside Market, located at 120 Brannan Street near the Embarcadero, will cease operations at September 13. Some of its 12 employees will be transferred to RJ's Market near Fisherman's Wharf, a little bit further to the north, the business's other location, but most will be laid off, the owner said. I mean, if you can't make a profit and you've got folks that are just shoplifting day and night, and they're literally somewhere in here, it says the store is being treated like the homeless and drug addicts, their own pantry. Yeah, let's come in here, get a little something to eat. And I just leave and I don't pay. In addition to inflation-fueled bills and declining foot traffic. Now, the declining foot traffic is because the downtown core, which this fits into, of San Francisco has been absolutely whittled out. You got about 40% vacancy factor in the commercial market. So that's the declining foot traffic. You don't have all those people in all those buildings. They're not going to work there, because they aren't there. We had the exodus during the pandemic. We haven't had that flow go back in a lot of the big cities. Here in Seattle, the Amazon has said, we're going back 5 days a week, January 2nd. Happy New Year. We'll see you 5 days a week in the office, because all that crap we said about working remotely forever and how this will change the way that businesses operate moving forward forever. Yeah, that didn't really work out. We were just trying to make you feel good about, how things were going to go in the pandemic when we locked you all down and we shut down the economy. Yeah, working from home remotely is going to be the new wave of the future. Not so much, at least not for Amazon. The small grocery in Delhi has suffered from rampant crime, including near daily shoplifting and 3 break-ins in the last couple of years, the owner said. He blamed city officials for the increased crime, slamming law enforcement and city leaders for being unresponsive and overly permissive. Absolutely. Absolutely. If the cops could come more often, if they had a better ability, if they had more police and they had the ability to actually arrest people, and if they had incentive to arrest people, meaning that they knew that these folks that are committing all these crimes were actually going to get prosecuted and then dealt with, if there were actually repercussions for said criminal illegal activity, this is what you're talking about. You know what I mean? It's like, well, if you let things just go, if you let a kid just run their own life at age 6 or 7, how do you think that's going to work out? Yeah, they're going to take the easy road. And that's what I'm doing. Yep, I'm eating dessert all day long. I'm eating a bowl of cereal. It's, sugary frosted flakes. I'm just going to have that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and just make terrible decisions. I mean, that's what you've got going on. You've got people that are hooked on drugs, and they know that this criminal behavior that they're involved within day in and day out, because they're doing a whole bunch of drugs and they're living for free on the sidewalk, and they've got civic leaders saying, hey, we want to be compassionate. We want to take care of you. Yeah, here's a clean needle. Go ahead and shoot yourself to kablooey. Our family business is going down the tubes because the idiots in City Hall can't protect us, the owner told the Chronicle. All City Hall cares about is the homeless and the fentanyl crisis, not the everyday law-abiding citizens trying to make a living. Now, you've got London Breed just really hammering down on the homeless population, but all that really does is after sweep, it just moves folks around because they're not going into treatment. They're not going to jail. And they're not going into psych wards. They're just not. So you're literally just playing the whack-a-mole game, and the shenanigans end up elsewhere. So you can talk about one neighborhood getting really cleaned up, but you got to remember, it's just going to be a little bit before the new neighborhoods realize, oh, this is what it's like. This is horrific. Where are our leaders during this? Where are the police during this? Well, you don't have enough cops to keep the city safe. Plus, there's no point in really arresting all these folks because it's, under $950. It's a misdemeanor. There's absolutely no teeth to the law. And prosecutors, I don't know if you know this about San Francisco, but it's a little liberal there. And they're not really tossing people in jail for crimes they should be, let alone misdemeanor shoplifting. To that effect, having to deal with shoplifters every day and multiple break-ins has just become unbearable, especially when law enforcement doesn't arrest and City Hall doesn't prosecute. That's a business owner being pretty damn clear, isn't it? Yeah. Law enforcement has taken hours to respond to petty crimes at Bayside, if they respond at all. Pusic said during 2 of the 3 break-ins the business faced over the past 2 years, he said police officers took over 8 hours to arrive on the scene. It's low priority. They don't have enough cops. They're getting to what they can. But this is what happens when you defund the police and you don't have enough cops to provide public safety. And then there's no incentive for the cops to really go after anybody because, like the owner says, even if they do, these folks are just going to, especially the homeless. No judge in San Francisco is going to toss a homeless person in jail. It's just not happening, right? So this is what you get when you hire elected officials that really only want to basically take care of the homeless and the drug addicted. Everybody else be damned. And that's literally what you got going on. And the market employees have stopped reporting shoplifting incidents. Remember that. They've stopped because what's the point? What's the point? If it takes 8 hours for a police officer to show up for an actual break-in, for a misdemeanor that there's really going to be no retribution, there's going to be no prosecuting, why call? Why call? Which the owner said shoplifting occur at least 5 or 6 times a week, and sometimes up to 5 times in one day. 5 times in one day. There goes your profit right out the window. Yeah, compound that. There's your extra employee that you need to run the business smoothly. Now you're not making any money. All right, so I got this other store over here, and it seems to be doing better. It's not in the same proximity to the Tenderloin, which isn't on the map, apparently. And so I'm going to shut down the one that's in the really bad proximity to all this craziness going on, and I'm going to go focus on that one. And that is how you have business after business after business shutting down, leaving, and then the residents go, we're in a food desert. How did this happen? Oh my gosh, where are we going to get our groceries? Well, you elected the officials, you defunded the police. This is what you get. This is the end result. Oh, yeah. Crime in the city plunged in the first quarter of 2024, the Chronicle reported in April. From January through March, San Francisco saw decreases in every major crime category tracked by the FBI for its Uniform Crime Reporting Program, which includes homicide, rape, aggravated assault, robbery, burglary, arson, larceny, theft, and motor vehicle theft. But Pusic said market employees have stopped reporting many crimes. So if they're not reporting them, yeah, you're going to have a drop in crime. What you also need to remember is that we've come off of some historically high levels of this criminal activity. Homicide, remember when we were having a race to, who would have a record-breaking year on homicide? Remember when that was normal just a couple of years ago? Rape, aggravated assault, robbery, burglary, those are all coming down. Okay, but they're still high. And remember, folks aren't reporting it half the time. I haven't reported a number of crimes. I had my catalytic converter stolen from my car. I'm just like, okay, that's horrific. You go out to your car and I've got a Ford F-350 and you start that up and, the exhaust pipe where the catalytic converter hooked up, they had unbolted it and basically cut off the cat from the rest of the muffler system. It was loud. Let's just say that. I think I've got a 360 in there. It's the small version of whatever the engine that's in there. It's not a diesel. It was loud. And I'm like, oh man, and just, immediately shut it down. And, it's annoying. But did I report it to the police like a good boy? No. You know why? Because I just don't have time to sit there and wait for the cops and do all that. I know I need to. But I've also got a life to move on with, such as it is at times, right? But Pusic said market employees have stopped reporting many crimes. We don't even call 911 anymore because they don't respond, Pusic said. This isn't fun. Playing security/police officer, trying to hold on to my inventory. Guy's alone. He's out there just trying to do a service for the community, but that's just not happening. In the absence of law enforcement, people deal drugs right outside Bayside's doors, and serial shoplifters operate with no consequences. These guys think our store is a pantry where they can take whatever they want, Pusic said. We've been spit at. We've had knives pulled on us. We've been called names. Here's the Dear Customers letter. After long consideration, we've made the difficult decision to close Bayside Market after 35 years in business. Just like many other businesses in San Francisco, business hasn't been the same since COVID. Escalating rent, insurance, labor costs, utilities, healthcare, emptiness of the city, no people walking around. Due to the remote work that COVID caused, have all made it very difficult to run a family business. And think when they say family business, small, independent, don't have a corporate structure that can feed money if things go sideways and they're not making a profit. All City Hall cares about is the homeless of the fentanyl crisis, not the everyday law-abiding citizens trying to make a living. To that effect, having to deal with shoplifters every day and multiple break-ins has just become unbearable. We've read this, but I think it's important to go through it again, especially when law enforcement doesn't arrest and City Hall doesn't prosecute. They left this on the storefront. Here you go. Here's what we're thinking. None of this corporate, it's been a difficult decision to make, and we're reviewing stores and their profitability, and unfortunately, this one just wasn't cutting it, and they never go into the specifics, which is the store is being shoplifted out of business, and there's no concern for folks trying to run a business. Our last day is September 13th. Thank you all for your years of support and loyalty. Thank you for the past 35 years. But City of San Francisco, go F yourselves. We're shutting down. And that's what they're doing. That's horrible because you got people that are dependent upon that store for, their jobs. You've got healthcare, you've got families, and they're going to try and hook them up with jobs at the other store. But the other store was running, it was running, trying to make a profit. And you can't just load up a whole bunch of employees from another store just because it closed down. Business and capitalism doesn't work like that. You've got resources and you need to allocate them correctly, right? I don't blame anybody who's giving up, and it breaks my heart to see it, Dorsey said. I feel like I need to apologize on behalf of my city. A perfect storm of adverse forces has buffeted small businesses like Bayside Market in recent years, Dorsey said, from the pandemic to the introduction of fentanyl into the city's drug markets to a drop-off in police staffing. You've got a perfect storm for small business to basically exit stage left. And that is what is literally going on. In Seattle, in some of our worst areas, they're trying to put in, video cameras to just video everything. They're doing that on Pike and Pine and 3rd. That's the Blade. That's the worst city in all of Seattle. They're doing it at South 12th Street and South Jackson Street and 12th Avenue South, International District, putting a bunch of video cameras in. And then they're putting a bunch of video cameras in up in Aurora. All the girls in their underwear walking around doing the sex, work. So it's like there's known areas where all this criminal activity is going on, and in these big liberal cities. Seattle is a perfect example. Okay, we don't have enough cops, so let's put up some extra lighting overhead. That's one of the stories. I'm going to go there and do a story on that. Now, I don't disagree with some of these things that civic leaders are trying to do and police are trying to do to help combat these issues, because every little thing counts. Every little thing counts. But at the end of the day, if you're not arresting folks all day long and incarcerating them, it's gonna keep going on. You can put up all of the lights you want. And by lights, what I mean is you've got a city street, right? With buildings on either side. You got wide sidewalks. So, the homeless can put up their tents. Forward thinking, right? And so overhead at probably, I don't know, is it 20 feet, somewhere up that high, strung across the road, you've got like these lights that you would see that are hanging on strings that you would see at like Christmas. Now, they're going to line the really tough streets in Seattle with some of that. They're going to put closed caption, and then they're going to do emphasis patrols, which they've been doing on and off. But bottom line is, you can do those kind of things all day long. But, these are public streets, and they're right out in the open. Putting a little bit of light on the situation, probably doesn't hurt, but it's not going to deter people who are whacked out of their mind on drugs from getting more drugs in these areas. It's not going to deter prostitutes on Aurora who are literally walking around in their underwear. And by underwear, I mean, not much. You got kids driving by. Hey, Mom, what's going on there? Johnny, don't look. Look straight ahead. Look at your mother. And you can't take kids up there and not feel bad about it. It's like, what's going on there? What's she wearing that for? Is she going to the beach in those high heels? No, she's not. And, we've got permissive leaders who have said, it's not the prostitutes. We need to go after the Johns. It's like, if it's illegal, then you go after everybody. But you have made it legal for these young ladies to just prance around and sell their wares. And business is good. There was one TikTok that I saw that claimed, and I've tried to work out these numbers, that the ladies up on Aurora Avenue North can make $7,000 in a night. Yeah, $7,000 in a night. And these are streetwalkers. And I'm trying to do the math, and I'm like, never mind. All right. Yeah, for that, you get that. And for that, you get that. What? How many times? No, the whole thing is just ridiculous, right? When you've got known criminal activity facing you in what used to be a major freeway, Highway 99, Aurora Avenue North, before Interstate 5 went through Seattle, when you've got that going on, you've just got, city leadership that's let things get out of control. And San Francisco is the same. Seattle is San Francisco light. Seattle is San Francisco 2.0. Just smaller. All right. So sad to see this store go, but I get it. And when you hear the crime statistics are dropping, think to yourself, yeah, but what's the reality? Why are stores closing if crime's dropping? Ask yourself that question. Yeah, I think we all know the answer. All right. Thanks for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.